Good morning. Okay, you need to go and get some coffee on the food truck, okay? But we're very happy to have you here. Welcome you to the NIH Graduate and Professional School Fair. I am Natasha Lugo Escobar, the Director of the Postbac and Summer Research Programs at the NIH, and I work at the Office of Intramural Training Education, OITE. You'll recognize us because of the green shirts, which hosts this event every year. So I want to start by saying that I'm very excited to have so many students, faculty, and exhibitor. We have over 1,700 participants and over 250 representatives. So it's very exciting to have them join us today. We also know that we have trainees coming from North Carolina, from Baltimore. We have out-of-state schools bringing buses with students to bring them here, and also welcome to our virtual attendees. So certainly this is going to be one of our biggest events. So we want to thank you for being here. So we have been doing this fair for many, many years, and our main focus has always been you. So with this in mind, I want to make sure that you get the most out of the day. So today, think about an opportunity to explore many educational programs leading to grad school, professional school, medical school, and other health-related degrees. Also think about opportunity to network, to make connection with representatives from so many schools and institutions from across the country. And very important, the whole point is to get your questions answered, right? Gain that information that you need to help you make an informed decision about what are the programs that will be the best fit for you. So with this in mind, we have a day packed of a lot of sessions and information and resources. We have an in-person exhibitor session. So we have two sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. They are located across the multiple areas in the Natural Conference Center. So please, wander around and visit as many tables as you can. We also have a series of panel sessions that we design based on what we have seen are the most common path that our NIH trainees pursue. So this is getting to medical school, PhD, MD, PhD. We also have other panels on career opportunities and training and preparation for psychology, including clinical psychology, counseling psychology, psych programs, and also panel on public health. And our third component or feature is our knowledge bite sessions, which are snippets or bites, right, of critical information that will help you put your best foot forward to have a competitive application. And that includes kind of getting a general idea of what the do's and don'ts when you are applying, MCAT prep strategies for those of you who are considering or applying to medical school, and most important, resilience. We want you to leave with the tools and the resources that you need to develop that resilience to navigate this journey that you're about to start. So we know there are a lot of schools. And so that you get a little bit of idea of how to understand the program book. One, we have the program book that you probably have seen on the website that lists all the schools in alphabetical order for each session, the AM and the PM. But probably the most useful for you might be the Excel file that we posted that has information based on tracks. So whether you are pursuing graduate programs, pharmacy, DO, MD, MD, PhD, careers, medicine, physician assistant, research, and then school. So you can decide which one is the best for you to find information that you need and help you navigate the day. They're both in the website, but also at the registration tables, we have a QR code that you can scan and access that. And what I want to leave you today is with a few takeaways to maximize and get the most out of your day. So first is to be intentional. There are many sessions going on. There are a lot of exhibitors. We hope you came prepared. So if you have your agenda, the list of schools, of those programs that really, really interest you, just making your way to them to get the information that you need. So when you leave today, you know how to prepare, what things are looking for, when you will start your application process, but also be open-minded. You might already have certain, list of schools that you are set on. These are the schools that I'm going to apply to, but you never know what other schools are out there that might be great. And you might add them to your list. And at the end might be a good fit for you as well. So don't discard anything. The other takeaway is to connect with program directors and faculty. Introduce yourself. This is a great chance to put a face to your name, to practice your elevator speech, give a little bit about who you are, what you're doing, why you're interested in the school and getting that information. Which take me to my next point. Don't be shy. Ask questions. They're very, very excited to be here. They want to chat with you. So think about this fair as a friendly and supportive place that is here for you, right? So you should feel comfortable asking as many questions and all the questions that you need. And also take breaks. It's gonna get crowded. It's gonna get noisy. And not all of us, right, get our energy from a busy place or from others. So if you need to step away, take a break, be on a quiet place, get some fresh air, recharge, whichever way works for you, please do so. And then you can come back. We have a whole day, we're here until 5. So you have a lot of chances to talk to representative and listen to panels. And last, have fun. Right, there's a lot of energy in this building or throughout the day. We have a lot of optimism and a lot of enthusiastic folks that are here to support you, including the OITE. So also, enjoy your day and meeting others. Once you leave, what do you do with all this information, right? The point is to use this information to put your best self out there and to help you prepare for your next step. So some of the things that you can do is follow up with exhibitors and panelists that you connected with. Maybe there are some that you had a really good conversation, you have follow-up questions. So get their contact and ask them, if you can email them after the event. So you have that source of support and resource in your hands. Put your knowledge into action. So you learn from them, like firsthand, what are the experiences they're looking for? What are the skills? So then use that to, whether you are in NIH or you are in a university or institution, finding opportunities to help you gain those experiences, to test the waters, to know if this is something that you want to do. Opportunities to acquire and develop the skills that will help you increase your chances of getting into the school, that will help you be a competitive applicant. Using resources, they are there for a reason, and reaching out for support. This is going to be stressful. I mean, right? There's no other way to say it. This is going to be a stressful process. So you want to hold hands of your mentors, of those who want the best for you and will advocate for you, and reaching out for support when you need to. Go to your career center for guidance, so they can give you advice, on your CV, on your personal statements, on your materials, and kind of let you know what are some of the gaps that you can address, how to address them, where to find opportunities to make sure that you have everything that you need to be competitive. So if you're in NIH, we have a wealth of resources in the Career Services Center, including the educational advising for pre-grad, pre-med, and professional school. If you are not at NIH, use your career centers or professional services. And then make a plan. That is the most important thing. Make a plan, put a timeline, and stick to it so you can have a successful application cycle. And before I pass it on to my colleague, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who made this event possible. All OIT staff were always there to show up, to help with what we need, especially Alexis, Jackie, Charlene, Austin, and Lori, who have been a huge source of support. Planning this event is my first event, so this is why I'm very thankful for them. Also for the exhibitors, moderators, including the OIT staff who are leading the panels, the panelists, and again, all of you, because this event is for you, and without you, right, we wouldn't be here. And now I'll pass it on to Dr. Lori Conlan, who is gonna help you live with some hope as you look into your future educational journey.
She almost left without her coffee. That's tragedy right there. That's tragedy. I am so excited to see all of you, especially before 9 o'clock in the morning. We as scientists are not known for being early birds, and so it's really nice to see everybody quite so early. I also want to take just a quick second to thank all the OITE staff. This event is an amazing feat to pull off. And Natasha, who is doing it for the first time this year, she's taken over this role, has done it with grace and amazing awesomeness. And so let's give Natasha a hand, as well as Alexis, Jackie, and Austin and Sherilyn. So let's think about, what does hope mean to all of us? What does that mean to us? How do we think about that? And how do we use that as we embrace our next steps in our career journeys? And so I really like this quote from Albert Einstein, which was, learn from yesterday, live for today, and hope for tomorrow. The most important thing is to not stop questioning. And I think that for us as scientists, this really kind of resonates down deep to our soul. You know, we learned what we did, we're doing what we need to, but that experiment's always going to work, right? Doesn't everyone hope that their experiment's going to work tomorrow? That was me, right? Everybody hopes that the careers that we choose, whether that's med school, grad school, MD, PhD, or whatever else, that's going to be the career that really fits and speaks to us. And so we also, as scientists and researchers, really, our training helps us question what we are doing and how are we doing it, and make sure we're doing it to our best possible way. So Einstein says it great, but let's dive a little deeper into hope. So we were thinking about this in the office, and we think that hope has about 4 different things to it: honoring your journey, obtaining great advice, planning ahead, and empowering yourself. Now, how many of you are current NIH trainees? You know that the NIH is all about acronyms, right? Has anyone realized that? We can say entire sentences without actually saying one word. It's incredible. So, you know, I thought we should also hop on that train. So here we are. Here's HOPE as an acronym: honoring your journey, obtaining sound advice, planning ahead, and empowering yourself. So what does that mean? Honoring your journey, not somebody else's journey, right? Everybody starts someplace, and all of your stories are really unique. How you got here, you know, how you grew up, where you went to school, the major that you chose to be, whether you took time off in order to do something else, whether you work full-time and also go to school full-time. All of your journeys are awesome, and all of your journeys are valid, but they're all different. And so one of the hardest parts about that is we try to map our journeys on everybody else. Has anyone ever else tried to do that? I need to be exactly like my next door neighbor kind of guy. Your journey's yours, and you get to choose how long it's going to take you. You get to choose where it takes you, even if it's the most windy, nauseating road sometimes. Because I don't know about anybody else, but when I go on these roads that look like this, I have to drive, otherwise it's not pretty. So are you driving that bus? Are you sitting in the passenger seat while somebody else takes you? All of those journeys are really what make it special and make you you. And then the second one is that there is no right journey or wrong journey. Every experience that you've had in the past shapes where you're going. You know how to drive on a windy road because you've done it before. You know how to drive on a straight road because you've done it before. And there's days that that windy road is where we want to go because we want to see the adventure or we need to slow down. And there's other days that the straight road is what we want. My best friend here in Maryland tells me that my life is all about the destination and not about the journey. And she didn't say that necessarily in the nicest way, right? So she meant that I'm always rushing to get to the end and I'm not taking the time to sometimes take the winding road. So since she said that to me about 5 or 7 years ago, I've taken a lot of time to really appreciate that I don't always have to be there the fastest, that I don't always have to be there as quick as possible, that there could be interesting things to find along the way. And that journey's okay too. Because for a long time, I really felt that if I wasn't on that straight road, I was wasting time. And now that I've learned that the journey can be kind of a little bit more like this, it's given me time to stop and find an ice cream store that I would never have found before, or take a chance to see the sunset or see some animals or something else. And our career journeys are no different. Many of us come out of high school, we go to college, we go to the grad school, we go to PhD, we go to MD, whatever. It's just like steps on that straight road. And we don't take time and we burn out pretty quick. And we never stop to question whether this is the best route for us. We just think that we're just going to get there. And then at the end, once we get there, we start to question how we got there and why we got there. So give yourself a chance to really explore that unknown on these windy roads and to really think about that long-term goal, which doesn't always mean the straightest path. Okay. The O in hope, we think, comes for obtain advice. And I think this is something that most of us in the current realm really understand. How many of you have asked for advice for the best restaurant in the area? Right? That is no different than asking for advice for where you want to go next. And multiple mentors is really where that starts to come into play. Now, all of you who are likely either postbacks or summer interns have a different view of multiple mentors than as you even start to grow in your career. Because right now you have mentors from your universities and colleges, you have mentors from here at the NIH, you have lots of different mentors in your lives. And these folks will give you different types of awesomeness depending on what you need at any particular time. I got a great story for that. So when I was a postdoc, I needed a different type of science mentor. My PI was fabulous. She's great. She's amazing. She's great at genetics. And I was doing biophysics in her lab. Marlene's great. She doesn't really understand biophysics and kinetics. She really, I don't think, can do any of those math equations. That's wrong. She probably can, but it's been a long time. So I needed a couple of additional scientific mentors as I was in that research group in order to make sure that I had not only her understanding of group 2 introns, but also other people's understanding of single turnover kinetics, right? So multiple mentors, even within a scientific environment, was super helpful. Even though it seems like the classical thing of your faculty member that you work for is that they are the only mentor. And if you find other mentors, you're cheating on them, right? You ever feel like that? Yeah, I did too. But Marlene couldn't give me everything. I needed these additional scientific mentors in order to make sure that my project went really well. Now, I also knew I was never going to be a faculty member when I was in my postdoc. It was never in my cards. I knew it from the point of which I was an undergraduate. So I went to undergraduate at Michigan State University, and I was in a research group. And I looked at my faculty member and said, that's not the job for me, but I do really like research. So I continued to go. I went for my PhD, I went for my postdoc because I really liked research and I loved science. And so I stayed in it knowing that a faculty member and being a PI wasn't mine. So my boss allowed me, my PI, Marlene, allowed me to get additional mentors to help me understand what career options were available for me as I finished out my PhD. And that was super helpful to understand what academic administration was. Now, the last different type of mentor was a psychosocial mentor that I had. So somebody for me to understand how I can succeed, not only as a person, but also as a scientist. I had my baby when I was a postdoc. He's now 19 and going off to the University of Minnesota in the fall. So if you have any recommendations for a mom sending their kid off to college, let me know. But he's going off to college in the fall, but I had him when I was a postdoc. And I needed the other postdoc and a staff scientist in my group to understand how to be a mom and be a scientist, because I couldn't figure out how to navigate all of those responsibilities. So I want you as well to think about all the different types of mentors you need as you move on this career journey, right? It could be someone to help you understand, what is medical school? Well, what is graduate school? What are the types of jobs at the end? What kind of specialties do I want? All of those types of people are really the mentors that are going to help you navigate all the different decisions that come along the way. There's also some phenomenal people, both here at the NIH, if you're an NIH trainee, and also at your universities, who really have a lot of skill set in helping you understand how to navigate the choices in front of you. Those are career counselors, or here at the NIH, we call them educational advisors, pre-med advisors, pre-professional advisors. They have lots of different names. We call them educational advisors here. These are folks who are professionals in helping you make choices. Is anyone else paralyzed by choice? Yeah, right? And I'm going to send you out here to 250 tables and tell you good luck, right? Go make a choice on which school is best for you. If you have some hard time making choices and making decisions, these are the folks who can help you. They've seen a lot of other trainees go through similar types of options. They know what makes you successful and makes you competitive. They've read a lot of applications, probably more applications than all of them want to admit. So they've seen what flies and what doesn't fly. And so they're phenomenal people to sit down with and really have great conversations. Career counselors also have a counseling background, and so they are trained also to help you navigate those difficult decisions, the stress, and all the rest of the things that come along with really thinking about the next step in your career. I imagine many of you also have family and that is helping, or community that's trying to help you make decisions, giving you advice. For some of you, that advice seems very awesome. For some of you, that advice can seem very heavy because what they want you to do may not be what you want to do. So following that advice can be very challenging. And in fact, they have your best interest in mind, but they don't also always understand the system and also how to get from point A to point B. You may also want to ponder well-being advisors. So these are folks who here at the NIH are part of our wellness center, or if you're thinking about it from your university structure, it's probably likely the student services section. These are counselors who can help you through the stress of all of these things and help you build those resilient skills that help us power through. But in the end, your decision is yours. And I think that's one of my biggest messages for you today. You get to make this decision. It is yours to make. Whether you go to grad school, whether you go to med school or not, whether or not you go to New York City or Kansas City, all of those are the choices that you get to make. When I was an undergraduate at Michigan State, I had always wanted to go to medical school. Always, since I was probably 4, had always wanted to go to medical school. So when I was an undergrad, as many of you, I started to do all those clinical hours, volunteering in the hospital, doing all those things you're supposed to. And I started to question whether or not that was a choice I actually wanted to make. I didn't really like being in the hospital. I didn't really like sick people. I really loved research. It was so much fun. My research group at Michigan State was amazing. And I'm still in touch with the graduate student that I worked with 25 years later. I sat down one day to take the MCAT. And I'm old, you can tell I have gray hair. So I'm filling out my name, Bubbles. You guys still know Bubbles, right? I'm filling out my name. And I realized really quickly that I didn't want to go to med school. That was the moment. The moment of which I'm filling out my bubbles for Lori Hallman, which was my name at the time, I knew I didn't want to go to med school. But now I'm sitting in the MCAT test, right? Can't really get up. That's really, that would really screw everybody up if I got up and left, right? So I took the test, as all good MCAT kids do, and I've never opened my scores. They sit in the trunk in my basement. I've never opened my scores because I had made the decision that that wasn't what I wanted to do. And I didn't want to be tempted by a good score or disappointed by a bad score. And so I've never opened them. Everyone asks me now. In fact, I was just talking to my husband's boss last week. She was over at the house for a party. She goes, go downstairs and open them. I'm like, no. Furthermore, I would have no idea from 1996 what a good score was or a bad score. So no, I don't want to. But in the end, that choice was mine. And I had to own that choice. And whatever it did to put the boundaries around my choice so that I could stick to it. Because I could just as easily open those scores, saw a great score, and been down the medical path that I had already chosen that I didn't want to. So you get to make your choice. You get to set the boundaries around your choice, and you get to make yourself happy. I think one of the most challenging parts about this next step is all the planning and preparation that goes into it, along with either having a full-time job. So if you are a post-bac here, you've got a full-time job and you still need to figure out how to get into all the programming. If you're still an undergraduate, you're here as a summer intern, you have to go back to school and still carry a full load and try to plan to get into the next step and make decisions and all those other things. And so it really makes it hard to do all these things at once. So planning becomes super important. I love this graphic down on the bottom because I think it really kind of gives us that view of there is just way too many Post-it notes on this planning schedule, right? So how do you kind of plan and make it so it doesn't overwhelm you? I think a couple of the things that really will help is to find a school or a program that really welcomes you as a person, not as a student, right? What does that mean, that they welcome you as a person? We want you to thrive, right? You don't want to go to school just because you want to go to school. You want to go to a school where you know you're going to have the next 4 years. And there's lots of different choices for that. I chose to go very far. I went to Texas A&M for my PhD because I wanted to have a chance to explore a different part of the country. Okay, so that's one of the reasons I chose to go from Michigan to Texas. I learned and if any of you are from Texas, you're awesome. It was way too hot for me. So, and now I like the past couple of days, it's been just as hot as Texas, right? So I knew that I wanted to see something else. And I knew that I wanted to go to a place that really not only helped me thrive academically, but also financially. It was a place that I could afford to go. Because although my PhD was covered, the cost of living in College Station was really, really low. So that really helped. So there were some things like that were part of my decision making. And also nowadays, you have so much more resources. And so really asking great questions of all the table about how do they support your career? If you're thinking about being a PhD in the biomedical sciences, what are you thinking about doing with that? And how does that university or program provide support for you to get to wherever you want to go next? If they want everybody to be faculty members and that's not what you want, that's not a good program for you. One of the postdocs that I went to when I was interviewing, I went to Columbia. I interviewed with someone who was an HHMI faculty member. She's wonderful. I really, really respect her. But as we were sitting for lunch, she was asking me, what do I want to do next? And I told her, I want to be a faculty member. Now, I already told all of you, that's not what I wanted, right? I realized if I was lying to her, I was lying to myself. And that was never a place that I should go. So make sure that there are places where you feel like you can go and get the professional and career development that you need. Is it a medical school that is really interested in helping out in low-income communities and that's something you're passionate with? Then ask those questions of those tables. Whatever you're passionate about, ask those questions at the table. You should also expect that any program that you're going to go to really has a commitment to your well-being. This is rough stuff. You know, as a PhD student, if you're thinking about that way, ask them what they do for 3rd and 4th years when you're at the, like you can't see the light at the end or the beginning of the tunnel anymore. If you're thinking about medical school or dental school or PA school, how do they support you when it's difficult to tell patients about bad news or something like that? So what do they do to commit to your well-being so you don't burn out before your career even starts? You should have a chance to have belonging. Are there people that are like you? Are there affinity groups or not support groups, but yeah, support groups too. Affinity groups, student-led organizations, all those types of things that fit you, whether that is your identity, whether that is things you love to do. Is there a place, for example, for an LGBTQIA+, or is there a place for people who like to go kayaking? All of those things are part of being a whole person within the structure of the university that you're going to. You should hopefully find faculty that supports you. Now, they're still going to be your boss, right? So you have to realize that they are still your boss and they're not going to be your best friend. But hopefully they do have the grace and the kindness to see you as a person and not just as a worker bee. If it's a type of program or university where you have to pick a PI, faculty member as you come in, beware of the trap of one faculty member and only one faculty member at that university that intrigues you. Because what if you get there and you realize that that person that's not a good fit for you? You want to make sure that there's enough other people in that department that you could work for. So at least one other. Don't go just for one person. And that also reminds me to remind you of the trap of reputation, right? Let's go to fancy school in Boston because that is, reputation is just one thing. I'm not going to say reputation isn't great, right? I would never say that because you tell someone you went to, and they're like, oh, wow, that's amazing. But I got degrees from state universities and I'm doing just fine. There's a lot of other people here who started in community colleges and moved on to this and that, and they're doing just fine. You get to choose your career, your program path that fits you. Don't chase a reputation, either from a faculty or from a university, as your only reason you're going there. Because if you get there and things are miserable because you didn't get all the rest of the support you need, it's going to be a hard 4 to 6 years. And I don't want that for you. The second part about planning your journey is how you actually get there. And that's part of it is just making sure that you go to all the panels, you go to all the tables, and you get a lot of advice on how to apply and get through all the testing systems that are out there. Doing informational interviews so you know what kind of careers are out there or what kind of programs best fit you. The application is no joke. I mean, it is a lot, especially for those of you who go into med school. Woo, like secondaries and firstaries, and you have to have this picture and that. Oh my goodness, right? But having a knowledge of what that preparation is really can help you out. So making sure you get the support, whether that's a career counselor, an educational advisor, a pre-med advisor, someone who really knows what the current situation is. I hear a lot of people ask their current faculty member about how to get into med school because they're an MD, PhD or something like that, and they went to school as gray as I am 30 years ago. Their experience is not your experience. What you have to do today is not what they had to do 30 years ago. So make sure you're getting advice from people who are looking at current applicants, not applicants from when they did it. And I think the last kind of section here of hope is the E, which is empowering yourself. There is so much of this process as you go through and think about your next steps that is terrifying to many of us. The first is the lack of control. You have no control over this system. You don't know whether you're going to get in. You don't know if you're going to get an interview. You don't know where you're going to move. And all of that uncertainty is really hard for many of us because you just want to know where you're going. You just want to know what's next. That uncertainty can be really challenging and sometimes can be really disconcerting as you move forward. The other challenge with empowering yourself through this process is that rejections are going to happen. You're not going to get into every program. And that can be really hard on some of us, especially if that was our top choice. And then the last one that makes it difficult to empower ourselves is that all these expectations that are on us, whether that's from ourselves, that we went on that straight road and we got there as fast as possible. It's from our family who has always said since we were 2 that we have to be a blah, otherwise why bother? Maybe it's a faculty member that you think has said to you, you would be an amazing PhD student. You should go there. And now you're like, oh, I guess I should go get a PhD. All these expectations can lead to a lot of guilt and a lot of like, did I make the right decisions? Am I disappointing someone? Am I disappointing myself? So if you want to empower yourself through all of these challenges, you have to empower your future. Building yourself as a person is really important. So a couple of things that we really think about, especially here in the OITE, is really thinking about imposter fears. Does anyone else have imposter fears? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. They're going to figure out that I don't belong here. And I think that gets harder as we go through. Many of you are probably very similar to me. In high school, you were probably top of your class. Okay. You went to undergrad. Many of you are probably still top of your class. I slunk a little down in the rankings. I was probably in the top 30%, not the top of my class, because everybody tends to get, as the funnel gets smaller, everyone gets just as smart, right? So all those people from high school who didn't even bother to show up from class, they're not there anymore. And then I went to graduate school and now I'm in the bottom 30% because everybody, and so that kind of like, oh, my goodness, I really don't belong here, but I totally do. But that imposter fear really kind of came through. And then all those cognitive distortions, perfectionism, you know, the one of my favorite one, which is fortune telling, where you tell a whole story in your head about what's going to happen and then wonder why it didn't happen. All of those types of things. Also learning how to advocate for yourself and be assertive, how to ask for what you need without sounding like a mean person, how to actually have the courage to advocate for extra time off or extra time on a test or something like that. The other one is feedback resilience. As we get feedback, it's not easy to get that feedback and to not be knocked all the way down. And how long does it take to go back to normal? This is all really great components of our Becoming a Resilient Scientist program. So if you're here at the NIH for another year, that program will start back up in the fall, and I really encourage you to come. If you're not, all the workshops are available on our OITE YouTube site, and I'm sure that Natasha's going to send out all the slides, and then you'll have the links to those. Another way to get past the uncertainty and all the rest of those things is to build your community, whether that's your family, other friends, other people going through the same type of program, whatever it is, find that community to help support you and the resources that really help you to move to that next step. When I think about hope and when I think about all of you, you get to grow anywhere. Often when my husband and I are driving, we see this plant that is always in the tiniest crack of concrete with no dirt anywhere around it. And we wonder, how did that plant thrive in that particular location? And it's because you find the nutrients that help you grow. You find the conditions that make you thrive. And even when things are really, really tough, you can still do it. And so that to me is what hope is. And that to me is what you get to think about as you move on into the next step of your career. So be that flower that grows in the train tracks that still doesn't matter when that train comes by and blows you in the wind. You're still going to manage to thrive and be awesome because that is what we do. I wish you all the absolute most best career, whatever that career is that you choose because you get to thrive and be awesome. I hope you have a great day. See lots of things. Natasha, do we have time for questions? I do. All right. So if you have any questions, this is a great time to ask us anything. There's 2 microphones. Please hop to the microphones. I'd love to answer any questions you have. It's okay. It's not enough coffee yet, right? All right. Well, I wish you the best today. I hope you have fun. Please stop by and see any of us with the green shirts on. We're really excited to help out. Enjoy the day and have a great career. Good luck.